We are surfing the internet today. Let us look at how blind and visually impaired persons can use their computers to access the internet. Let's go. All right, so remember that you can always look for these lessons on blindaccessibilitytips.com. This lesson, as well as other lessons teaching blind and visually impaired persons how to use their Windows computers in a basic way, teaching them basic lessons from how to navigate the Windows environment, file management, and so on, through how to use in Microsoft Word, and now accessing the internet. All these lessons can be found on blindaccessibilitytips.com, and this particular lesson, the link for this lesson will be found in the description below this video. All right, so let's get into this lesson. To access the internet, we have to use a web browser. So while all our other lessons before this were, for instance, we were using Microsoft Word, which is a software which allows you to create documents. Well, to use the internet, you wouldn't be able to use Word, because Word has its own function, which is to create documents. To access the internet, you will have to use a different kind of software or a different kind of application called a web browser. And the web browser for the Windows computers, there are three common ones. The one which actually comes preloaded to your Windows machine is Microsoft Edge. Yes, and that's pretty fast and good too. Some persons like Firefox. I personally like to use Google Chrome, and that's the one I'm going to be using today. The way how we use it though, it's transferable across the screen readers. For most of the things that we do here in Chrome, it operates the same way in Microsoft Edge and in Firefox, and perhaps for other web browsers as well, because there are others. All right, so I am using Chrome, and I have come to a website, blindaccessibilitytips.com. Of course, we will look later on how we can switch to another website that we choose, right? So now I'm here. I'm on a web page. How do I navigate it? Well, the easiest way to navigate a web page using your screen reader is to just use your up and down arrow. You navigate it generically to find out what is on the page, and that is what we usually suggest. If you go to a page or a website that you are not familiar with as screen reader users, you might want to use your down arrow to go through the page, listen to all the elements that's there, become more familiar with the page. Then afterwards, if you need to revisit the page, you would have known where all the other elements are. So then you'll be able to jump quicker around using the internet, the navigational quick keys. All right, but let's go to the top of this web page. These same keystrokes that we had been using in Microsoft Word to read and to get to the top of the page, to get to the end of the page, and so on, still apply here in a web browser. So I'm going to use my control and home to get to the top.
Visited link, skip to content.
And this says skip to content, and it says visited link. That's visited. First of all, it's a link. That's the most important thing. And links on a web page means that anytime you enter on it, it takes you either to a different part of the same page, or it takes you to an entirely different page, right? But it links you to somewhere else, right? So meaning if you press enter to that link, it will take you somewhere. And it says visited link because I have used the link before. So it says visited, right? Now, this skip to main content link is a link that's not visible necessarily to persons who are looking on the site, but your screen reader will pick it up for you. And it is also not always found on every website. All right, it's an accessibility thing for our screen readers, and it's found on some pages, not all. Later on, we'll look at how it functions. I'm just going to down arrow down the page now. Let us see what is on this page.
Banner landmark, visited link, current page, graphic, blind accessibility tips.
So it's telling you the current page.
Heading level 1, visited link, blind accessibility tips.
And it tells you heading level 1. It's another element that you can find on our web page, right? Headings. And this says heading level 1. A heading level 1 is usually the biggest heading on a page. And of course, that's blind accessibility tips. Down arrow.
A virtual platform where the blind and visually impaired can come and sharpen their information.
Right, so it's giving me some more information on the
Technology
page. Down.
List with 7 items visited. Link home.
Right, and this says list with 7 items, and the first link there in this list is home. So this is another thing about web pages. Usually at the top of a web page there is a set of or a group of navigational links in this navigational menu, right? This one on my web page here, it has 7 links in this navigational menu, and the first one is home. Right? If you down arrow, you will hear others.
Collapsed sub-menu link tutorials clickable.
Tutorials, and it says clickable, meaning if you were to enter on this, there a drop-down menu would appear that you can use your down arrow to enter on different tutorials. Down arrow again. Let me go past tutorials to the next one.
Link downloadables.
Downloadables is a link that you can visit as well, and it's saying link.
Link services.
Link services.
Link contact us.
Contact us link.
Link search icon link.
And search, right?
Search landmark search for. Edit search here. Button search button graphic search.
And this says search, and it's an edit area that you can actually activate. And we'll talk about that later, because you can't just start typing on a web page. A web page is backed by, web pages are created by HTML files. They are HTML files, and HTML files are text only. You're not really allowed, you're not able to just type and edit the page as you would usually do in Microsoft Word, right? On a web page, you're not able to edit. To actually be able to edit, you would have to be placed in a field, in an area, and activate it or put your screen reader into forms mode or focus mode, which would then allow you to input some information, but you can't just type on a web page. Anyway, let's continue down.
Out of list main landmark heading level 1 home.
Home.
Heading level 1 welcome to blind accessibility tips.
And it's saying heading level 1 again. This is also a big heading. Welcome to blind accessibility tips. And I'm gonna keep going down.
Graphic person using laptop, computer, and smartphone that have accessibility features for the blind.
Right, and this says graphic. I want you to be listening to these different elements. So we heard links, we heard headings. Now we're hearing graphic. When we hear graphic, it means a picture. All right, so blind persons, when you hear this, your screen reader says graphic, it means it's a picture. And then on this website, it actually proceeded to tell you what the picture is, right? It says person using a laptop or so on. Let me down arrow past this.
Welcome to blindaccessibilitytips.com. Our aim here is to promote independence and improving.
And it's now beginning to read the information on the page. And of course, just like in Word, your control down arrow will make you read paragraph by paragraph. Your down arrow alone will make you read line by line, and so on. Let me try the control down.
We aim to answer and help you with questions you have like.
Right, and that's reading a line there.
List with 3 items full and how does a blind person use a computer?
Right, so the point is we had used our down arrow to get down the page and kind of explore what is there so far, right? Let me get back to the top using my control home.
Out of list visited link skip to content.
All right, so and it says visited link skip to content. Now this is the first link I want to use, because yes, we just learned about that, the fact that we can use our down arrow to go through down, listen, link by link by link on a page, different elements on a page, different lines on a page. And that is it. This blind accessibility tips website is very it doesn't have many links and so on, but you will find that there are other websites that you visit that will have many different links above in the navigational menu, different buttons, a whole lot of other things before you actually get into the meat of the matter, which is the main content of the page, which is where we had actually begun to read the information. This doesn't have a lot, but there are other websites that do have a lot. So this is where your internet navigational quick keys become necessary, because when you want to get to the important part of a web page, or you want to go to a specific section of a web page, you don't want to have to be down arrow. It's going to take too long. So let's learn now how to jump around the page. The first thing I want to use now is the skip to main content link here. So I'm just going to enter on it and see where it takes us.
Skip to content.
Right? And it says skip to content. Now let's
Main
down.
landmark heading level 1 home heading level 1 welcome to blind accessibility tips. Graphic person using laptop computer and smartphone that have accessibility features for the blind welcome to blind access.
And if you notice, immediately it takes you down to the main content, starting with the heading welcome to blind accessibility tips, and it proceeded to continue reading everything under that. So it jumped immediately past the navigational links, which had home and contact us and downloadables and all of that. It didn't go to any of that. It skipped all of that and jumped to the main content of the page, which is important because when you just want to get to the information of the page, you don't want to have to be going through all of the other distractions at the top, right? So the skip to main content link is one of the most important links as well. It doesn't appear on all, but when it does, use it. All right, let's get to the top again. Control home.
Out of frame visited link skip to content.
All right, now to jump by heading to heading to heading on a page, you can use the letter H. Now remember, these HTML files that make up web pages, you cannot edit them just like that. So pressing H will not mean that you are altering or editing the information on the page. No, right? So because you are not able to edit just like that, pressing H will actually allow you to jump to different headings on a page, right? So right at the top, I'm going to press H.
Banner landmark blind accessibility tips visited link heading level 1.
So that's the first heading. It says heading level 1. I'm going to press H again.
Main landmark home heading level 1.
Goes to home. Still a heading level 1. H again.
Welcome to blind accessibility tips. Heading level 1.
Right. And now another heading. Welcome to blind accessibility tips. Right. Let's press H once more. Are there any more headings?
Complimentary landmark did you know? Heading level 2.
Right. And this section says did you know? That's another heading. And this one is actually a heading level 2, which means that it is a smaller heading than the other headings on the page, right? Pressing H again.
Complimentary landmark message US. Heading level 2.
This is another heading, heading level 2, message us. All right, let me H again.
No next heading.
And it says no next heading. That's what NVDA does when there are no more headings on the web page. For JAWS, if you press H, it would actually wrap back to the top and begin with the first heading of the page again. All right, but for NVDA, it tells you no more headings on the page. So H will make you jump down the page, going forward, heading by heading by heading. You can actually jump by headings going backwards using Shift H. Let's try Shift H.
Complimentary landmark did you know?
And it
Heading
goes
level
back
2.
to did you know? Let's Shift H again.
Main landmark welcome to blind accessibility tips.
And it goes back to welcome to blind accessibility tips, right? So that is jumping by headings. Let us press H now to go forward to the did you know heading again.
Complimentary landmark did you know? Heading
All
level
right.
2.
So I want you to understand that H makes you jump down the page to different headings, right? If you want to read the information in a section though, you don't want to press H again. For instance, I want to know what is under, I want to read the information that is under this heading that says, did you know? So I won't press H anymore because I'm already at did you know? Instead, now I'm going to use my down arrow to read what's under this section.
Complimentary landmark did you know that the World Blind Union estimates that there are about 253 million people living with blindness and visual impairment in the world?
Right, so just want you to understand that the H will jump you to the section, and then if you want to read whatever is under that section, you would use your down arrow or control down arrow as you please to read. Let me get back to the top. Control home.
Visited link skip to content.
All right, so H allows us to jump by heading. K will allow us to jump by links on a page, right? Using the NVDA screen reader. If you're using JAWS, you'll have to use I to jump by links. Let us press K to see where it takes us.
Banner landmark blind accessibility tips graphic visited link current page.
Right, and it tells you that's the first link on the page. Let me press K again.
Blind accessibility tips visited link heading level 1.
That's another link there.
List with 7 items. Home visited link.
And it's now taking you into the navigational links with home as the first one of the 7. Press K again.
Tutorials clickable collapsed sub menu link.
Tutorials is the second one, right? Press K again.
Downloadables link.
Downloadables is the next one. So every time you press K, it will jump from link to link to link. And if you want to go backwards, as usual, just like with the H, you can actually press Shift K to go backward by link.
Tutorials clickable collapsed sub menu
And
link.
it goes back to tutorials. Let me Shift K again.
Home visited link.
And it goes back to home link. All right. So H makes you jump by headings. K makes you jump by links. Let me head back to the top. Shift, Control Home.
Out of list visited link. Skip to content.
All right. So another important one is E. E will jump into an edit field. So how can you use the E? For instance, I know that on this page somewhere there's an edit field that I can use to search this website, right? That's important to note. You don't want to have to down arrow to find it. So all you would have to do right now is press E to find the edit field.
Banner landmark list with 7 items. Search landmark. Search for. Edit search here.
And it says search here and it says edit, right? Now, to actually activate this edit field, you would have to press enter to put NVDA into focus mode.
Banner landmark list.
And you heard that sound? That sound means that the focus mode or the forms mode of NVDA has been activated, and you could type whatever you want now. You could search for, Windows, if that's what you want. And you would press enter if you do want to complete the search. For me, I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to escape to come out of forms mode. And you heard that sound, which means that forms mode has been deactivated, and now I will be able to move down the page as usual, right? All right, so I have switched the play to another page on Blind Accessibility Tips. I've gone to one of the lessons, which I know at the bottom of this page, it has a table giving the keystrokes for this lesson and their function. All right, so we learned here that H will jump us by headings, K will jump us by links, or I will jump us by links if you're using the JAWS screen reader, and we learned that E will jump us by edit fields. Now we can learn that T will jump you to the table on a page. So if you come to this particular page on blindaccessibilitytips.com talking about I think I'm talking about editing here. If you just want to get right down to the table without going through anything else, you could just press T, right? Let's see what happens. Pressing T.
Main landmark table with 5 rows and 2 columns. Row 1, column 1, keystroke.
And it tells you keystroke, right? You go right down to the table. And if you had listened to the other lesson that we talked about creating tables in Microsoft Word, you would have remembered that to navigate a table easily in Microsoft Word and also here on the internet, you can use what I call the table keys, which is Control, Alt, and the arrow keys. So I'm going to use Control, Alt, and right arrow to go to the second column.
Column 2 function.
So function. So column 2 has function. Column 1, let me see, Control, Alt, left.
Column 1 keystroke.
Right, has a keystroke. So if you're to press now Control, Alt, down.
Row 2 Control plus C.
That's the first keystroke it's giving you. And if I'm to go to Control Alt right,
column 2 copy,
it will tell you that the function for Control C is copy. So the point is I used T and moved immediately to the table that is on the page. Now before we close, I want to also show you how you would go to another website. So we are on blindaccessibilitytips.com. Somewhere on the website. Of course, a website has different pages, right? But suppose I want to skip and go to a new website entirely. I want to visit the NVDA website, which I know the web address is nvaccess.org. You would have to access the toolbar area to be able to type in that address to go somewhere else, right? So right now I'm on Blind Accessibility Tips somewhere, but I want to move to a different web page. You'd have to press Control L, which activates the address bar or toolbar area, Pressing Control L.
Toolbar. Address and search bar, and it has autocomplete control plus L selected https://blindaccessibilitytips.com/editing insertion deletion replacing copying.
Good. And what this does now, as soon as you press Control L, it tells you the current web address that you're on. You heard it tell me https://blindaccessibilitytips.com/whatever. It's going to tell you the entire web address that you're currently at. And it's also selected, which means that as soon as I begin to type something else, whatever is there will be deleted and what I am typing will be inputted. So I'm going to go ahead now and type nvaccess.org.
N unselected.
vaccess.org. And once I type that, when you type web addresses, by the way, you put no space, no caps necessary. Just nvaccess.org straight. Just press enter when you're done.
nvaccess.org selected. Document busy blank. NV access. Clickable button mouse, button pen,
right.
Button
Took a little while to get there, but it got there. So now we are on a different web page or a different website. We are on the NV Access web page, and here is where you can actually download the screen reader NVDA, right? And as usual, if you want to down arrow to navigate this page, if you can do that. If you want to press H to jump to the different headings on this page, you can do that as well. If you want to see the links on this page, yes, you can use K to jump by links, or if you're using JAWS, you'd have to use I to jump by links. If you want to find edit fields, there may be a search edit field, I'm not sure here. E would jump you by edit fields. If you want to jump to a table, T would jump you to tables. If there are buttons here as well, B will jump you by buttons. So these are quick keys that you can use. I will put a link to where you can find the lesson for this, giving you a list of all these different navigational quick keys from the Blind Accessibility Tips website. I will put the link to this lesson in the description below. All right, so in closing, you can visit this lesson. The link is in the description below. When you go to a web page, you just navigate firstly with your down arrow if you're not familiar with the page, just to see and understand what's there. Or you can use your H to jump you by headings, E to jump you by edit, to jump you to edit fields, T to jump you to tables, and B to jump you to buttons. These are different navigational quick keys that you can jump to different areas on a web page. Then when you get to that area, you can do whatever you want. So if you press K to jump you to a link and you eventually hear the link that you want, then you can press enter and it will take you to wherever that link is going to take you. If you want to find a button on a page and you press B until you begin to hear the button that you want, just keep pressing B until you hear the button that you want, and you want that button, then you just press enter and the button will be activated, right? And so on. So thanks for listening to this lesson. Hope it was helpful. Always visit our website and continue to listen to our other lessons.